Hello, today I'm going to talk about ecocriticism. And I'm going to tell you about our relation with nature and literature, and how it is an interdisciplinary approach. When was it first mentioned? Why is ecocriticism important? What to concentrate on? Some books that were important in the founding and development of ecocriticism, and examples from literature. Do we have a connection with nature? Of course, yes. We cannot deny the connection between us and nature. We are a part of it. Nature and literature. Texts can be read in different ways. You can read any text from a different point of view and focus on different ideologies or problematic areas with critical theories. You can read one text considering a variety of literary theories at the same time. It is just like wearing different spectacles to be able to see the different scopes of the world. For example, if you're reading a text with your ecocriticism spectacles, this means you are examining the events in which human beings and nature interact. With these spectacles, you can observe how they influence each other. This influence can be well observed if you look at 19th century texts, since nature as a concept has also been being used as a literary criticism since the mid-1990s. The origin of the world is oikos kritis. Oikos means household and kritis means judge. This is an interdisciplinary field. Ecocriticism has an interdisciplinary structure because it tries to solve the problems of the contemporary environmental situation with the help of science. When was it first mentioned? Ecocriticism was first introduced to the reader by Lawrence Buell in the Environmental Imagination in 1995. And by Cheryl Glotfelty and Harold Form in the Ecocriticism Reader in 1996. By the way, British writers prefer to use the term green studies, while American writers use the term ecocriticism. Now, why ecocriticism important? This is the key word. Connection. There is a connection between every piece of the world. The ideology of quantum physics also supports the idea. Let's see what some prominent physicists wrote about this idea. For example, Herbert says, in spite of its obvious partitions and boundaries, the world in actuality is a seamless whole. And in his book, The Web of Life, Capra states that the origin of our dilemma lies in our tendency to create abstractions of separate objects, including a separate self, and then to believe that they belong to an objective, independently existing reality. Capra proposes a systematic shifting of our conceptual focus from objects to relationships. Thus, ecocritics give importance to the values such as growth and energy and sustainable or unsustainable uses of energy and resources. They try to find out what is meant by using ecological elements in texts. So, what to concentrate on? Lawrence Buell suggests 4 criteria for evaluating a text for its environmental consciousness. 1. The non-human dimension is an actual presence in the text and not merely a facade, thus implying that human and non-human worlds are integrated. Number 2. The human interest is now privileged over everything else. Number 3. The text shows humans as accountable to the environment and shows any actions they perform damaging the ecosystem. Number 4. Environment is the process rather than a static condition. Now let's see some examples. These are some books that were important in the founding and development of ecocriticism. For example, Leo Marx, The Machine in the Garden, Technology and the Pastoral Ideal in America. Roderick Fraser Nash, Wilderness and the American Mind. Donald Worcester, Nature's Economy, A History of Ecological Ideas. John Elder, Imagining the Earth, poetry and the vision of nature. Robert Pogue Harrison, Forests, The Shadow of Civilization. Lawrence Burrell, The Environmental Imagination. Let's see some examples from literature. James Thompson's The Seasons. Henry David Thoreau's Walden. And Rachel Carson's Silent Spring. Now, let's focus on one specific example. Let's have a look at a novel that depicts ecological science. This is an excerpt taken from The Gift of Stones by Jim Grace. He closed his eyes, and what he saw was the shingled margin of the sea with horses wild and riderless close by. He tried to place a sail upon the sea, but could not. He tried to fill the air with human sounds, but all he saw were horses in the wind, the tide in loops upon the beach, the spray wet rocks and stones reflecting all the changes in the sky, and no one there to notice or applaud. If we evaluate this excerpt, we can claim that an ecocritical awareness is being tried to be raised. So, briefly, I tried to tell you briefly about ecocriticism. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for listening to me.